Hello again. Good morning. We are back on streaming. So, welcome everybody. And I've been doing something a bit different to start with today. So in the last session, last evening, we had a few spare minutes at the end, and we didn't have any particular questions on the projects. So I dropped a question to the students, and we were speaking about what you do the most as a software developer, and the idea is that the task that you do during the most time is reading code, because you read code while you write the code, you read code while you debug, you read code while you are trying to fix a bug, and so on. And it's important to make the code readable and understandable. And I left a quote for you by Martin Fowler that says, any fool can write code that a computer can understand. Good programmers write code that humans can understand, right? And it was a bit of conversation regarding some of bits of code that you had shared with me yesterday, where maybe some variables, methods, names were not very good or were not very descriptive, and so on. So then I have the idea to start this this session with a question, and because usually you ask me things, and I thought, okay, well, let's gonna continue a bit on this topic that we opened last evening, and the question was essentially, well, nowadays we can measure so many things that are incredible. You can measure distances, obviously a simple example, but you can measure things that are much more complex, like how strong an earthquake is. You can measure things like the viscosity of a liquid and give it a value. Okay, using artificial intelligence, you can check the credit score of someone and then see how likely is that person to pay back if you give some credit to him or her. And some of these things maybe were not possible time ago, right? So my question was, well, so now we have code, we have the software that we have built, and is any way where I can measure and say how good or how bad this code is? And I asked you a few minutes ago to drop your ideas on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and see before we start with your question. So we have Bruno, and Bruno mentions that you can measure the quality of the code on execution time needed to accomplish the task and monitoring memory usage, okay, which is a potential idea, okay? Obviously, there are people who work on measuring code quality and performance and all these kind of things. And maybe we have some of the replies from some of the students. So let me check. Her idea was following what we were speaking about yesterday. She thought maybe the quality of code is how it can be understandable to others. She also mentioned the simplicity of code. She said, because all genius is usually simple. And we have something here Eva is speaking about readability, and Moni has found what I was looking for. I mean, that was what I was going to share. Okay, so this image that is kind of a comic kind image, and this says that the only valid measurement of code quality is the number of the amount of WTFs, let's say that is, per minute. Okay, and this is a funny way to say that, but it's a bit related to what we were speaking yesterday. Okay, if you are getting in front of a piece of code that you have probably not written yourself, and even if you have written yourself, because it can also happen. Okay, and when you read this, it's like you are saying, "Oh my God, what's this? Who has written this?" I mean, as I said yesterday, you cannot pretend the code to be readable in the way that a novel is. Okay, but if for every line of code you need to spend a few minutes and stop to say, okay, what is this really doing? Then there's a problem there. Okay, and it's a funny way to say that. There's a very famous book. I'm gonna share the link with you, by Uncle Bob. Okay, so Robert C. Martin is known as Uncle Bob. He's one of the original signers of the Agile Manifesto. He's one of those top influencers in coding, and it's kind of his opinion about code and all those things is so well respected. Having taken a course, a weekend course, 2 days with him it's not cheap. And he has this book that is considered like a reference in clean code, and it's really amazing. I understand it's not maybe for everyone, but it's a good thing to have a look at it. And it's interesting because this image that I was going to share, but Monica found herself trying to answer the question that I dropped. This picture, this image, appears in the first page of the first chapter of this book. Okay, and I just wanted to give you something extra, like maybe mentality-wise, or how you approach the code. So you need to make your code readable. Also, in terms of, I've seen code from students submitting projects, and it's like not for every line of code, but it's almost for every line of code there is a comment. Okay, that is completely crazy. If you need a comment to be able to express what that line of code is doing, in some situations it makes sense. I mean, but if you need a comment for every line of code, that is an overkill. That doesn't make sense at all. Okay, so code should be easy to understand, easy to reason about. It should be readable, and easy to follow the logic of what things are doing. Okay, obviously a comment here and there, sometimes they are tricky things, and yeah, you want a comment from time to time. Saying don't write any comment, never ever, it's probably not a good idea either, right? But if you write code that is good enough, then you're not gonna need to add comments continuously, because everyone who's gonna read the code is gonna be able to understand what it's doing, and only in particular places that are maybe more specific, you can add some line of code to make their lives easier. So this was something that I wanted to to share as a follow-up of what we were speaking about last evening. That said, I hope now your mindset when you write code is a bit better, and then you can consider what's a good name for the method and what's not, or a name for the variable, or for a class, how to reuse the code and don't duplicate the code, and when you can extract to a common method, and also all these kind of things. The idea that a method ideally should do one thing. If a method is doing more than one thing, it can be improved. Okay, maybe you can write a method that does 2 things. Okay, but if a method is doing 5 things, then that's unit refactoring, and that makes sense. And you're gonna find yourselves in a situation in which, with that refactoring, turns out that the name of that method that made sense now should change, because now it doesn't represent what the method actually does. And refactoring and going into improving the code as you go is a really good thing to do. Okay, and we had I think it was Thorsten yesterday, and he had a very interesting comment on what we were speaking about. That was, okay, are you saying that my code will bite me eventually? And yeah, that can happen, and it's a good way to see that. Okay, if you are lazy on writing your code because you think you are saving time, then maybe you find out that later something that should be easy to do is not easy. And then is that what you say is, you call this, there's an expression for that, is sorry, this is well, it will come out later. Have no tip of the tongue, but yeah, essentially, you need to be conscious about the drawbacks of being lazy or trying to save some time. The day of tomorrow might not be so good. That said, obviously, if anyone has a comment or want to mention anything, we can talk about that. But that said, then the main purpose of the session, as you know, is to progress on your projects. So I hope that you have questions. You have blockers that we need to work at. Anything that you have an error that you don't know how to do, and we can have a look at it. Okay, so please drop your questions. I think there was actually one question on, well, this, yeah, so Thorsten mentioned that sometimes readability has an impact on performance. Well, this is interesting. Measuring this is a bit complex. Obviously, there might be situations in which, I mean, you don't need it to be like perfect, okay? But I would say, like, you have a range of quality, and you want to be in a point that is, you know, closer to being good. Expecting it to make it perfect is not such a good idea. In terms of performance, there are things that sometimes we are told, like, this is not good for performance. This should be written in this way. And it's like, yeah, but you need to think about how much you are saving in terms of performance. I can say, I was actually in a talk last week by Jorge Barroso, who is one of he's a Google developer expert for Android, and he was speaking about different things in terms of performance, right? So those things that you're told you should not be using this. This is much better in terms of performance, and then you do that, and you think, okay, yeah, but that's more complex to me. I mean, and as developers, we cannot be lazy. That's not a good thing. Okay, so you need to write the right code, and I say, okay, so I have two ways of doing this. One is much more effort, and the other is not so good in performance. So what do you do? Where is the balance? The thing is, you need to consider how much more effort and how much better performance something gives you. Okay, so the thing and what he was speaking in the talk was, and he was giving very nice examples. Was okay. So I have these two pieces of code. This first one is beautiful, nice, simple. It's just a few lines of code. This other one is pain. It's a pain to write. It's a pain to read when someone needs to read this. And how much am I really improving the performance? And he said, okay, so I'm improving the performance, and he had some measures and say, okay, my improvement is 70 nanoseconds. 70 nanoseconds. So how much is that? I mean, we are speaking about like 0.007 milliseconds, I think it is. That is, you really want to make the effort and suffer the pain for something that is not going to be even visible. So obviously, you see there are a few things to consider here and there. So yeah, I agree. Sometimes you need to make an effort to make the code better and not take the easy, lazy way just because it's more readable or just because it's easier for you. That's not the way to go. But if you're going to do something much more complex to save 0.007 milliseconds, then maybe that's an overkill. That is not justified. So again, that said, I'm looking for your questions. So actually, I can share with you the talk I was speaking about by Jorge Barroso. So this is, I can find, should be able to get it, a link for you. Okay, so please drop your questions in the meantime. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is it's an interesting talk to have a look at. If you register in the website, you can watch the video for the talk. And as I said, here Jorge is giving a few examples of things that as software developers in Java or in Android, we are suggested not to do or to do in a different way. And he was trying to put in measurement and number how much is the performance improvement and whether it is really worthy or not in a real world sense. Okay, so yeah, that's good to watch. So, waiting for questions. Okay, so you've been shy today. I think we had a lot of work yesterday. So Daria is typing. Actually, I think there was a question above that I skipped with all this talk. Yeah, so Vincenzo Masulo is asking, is that true that tour guide app and inventory app are similar? No, I don't think they are similar at all. The thing is that there's something that you're gonna do many times, and is you're gonna have a list of items, and you want to represent them in a list that is scrollable and you can move back up and down. And this type of list, you don't know how many items you have. So it's not like you can say, okay, I have 3 items, I put 3 views. This is completely dynamic. You're going to receive an amount of data which you don't know in advance. So you cannot design your layout for 3 items or for 5 or for 7. It can be for whatever amount. And for that, you are using now list view, because list view is the old way to do things, or you can still use, of course. It's not the modern way, but it's easier for you at this stage of your learning, because recycle view, which is more modern, as I said yesterday, has some other complications. That implementation might be a bit more different and more complex because of the abstraction level that it has on itself. So the tour guide, in the tour guide, essentially what you're doing is building the skills of setting up this kind of list. Okay, and you do, I think it's 4 different lists for 4 different things with 4 different sets of data, and you practice that. Okay, the similarity with the inventory app is that there is a list. There's one, because as I said, this is so common. You're gonna do so many of this. Okay, so obviously you need to have practice that skill of being able to build this kind of list, because you have to do one of them in the inventory app. But in the inventory app, this is just for display UI purposes. The inventory app is more focused on the database, and you are populating that list from the database. So the purpose of the inventory app assignment or project is not so much on building a list. The purpose is to use the database, to use and to build a content provider and all this, understanding how all that works. Okay, so they are not similar at all. The only similarity is that you are building some UI interface visually that is similar in one of the screens, but the core of the project is the DB, and that's completely different. Okay, so that's I'm gonna scroll down to see your questions. Okay, so we have a question by Yanni, but I think before that I'm gonna close the topic about laziness, good code, and all this. Okay, So Daria was saying, how can we measure the quality of the programmer? Okay, that's an interesting question. Well, that's not so obvious. That's not so easy. Okay. Well, a company, if you go for an interview, obviously wants to know how good you are as a programmer, as a developer. And measured in this, obviously you cannot give a figure like it's 7.8 good. It's more conceptual. Obviously, the first thing is you're going to have technical questions. But if you don't know how to reply to them or the answer, well, maybe you are not good enough for the position. Assuming that you pass the technical interview, so it means like they ask you things about Android, how to build this, how to build that, and you are able to reply to those things in a good manner. The companies usually is gonna ask you for a code test, okay? And a code test essentially is they're gonna give you a small task which can be similar to some of these assignments, and they're gonna give you maybe a couple of days. You can do in a weekend and send them your code or share your GitHub repo with that that you have written for them. And obviously they're gonna see, that's gonna prove that you can actually do and build the app that they're asking. But they're also gonna see your code. They're gonna see if you are repeating pieces of code here and there, if you are optimizing things, if your code is readable, if it's well structured, it's well organized, if the things are in the correct package, or I mean, if you have done something that makes sense and is expected from a good developer. Sometimes, particularly for junior positions, you're gonna have to pass through this because no one wants to get you in the team and then later on find that your code is horrible. Okay. So for junior positions, that is, in my understanding, what we are looking for at this stage of your career, you will have to do that. Sometimes what I do is I propose, look, what if you look at my GitHub and check this my code? Because I can spend one whole weekend writing something for you, but maybe there's no point, okay? So sometimes companies are more flexible and say, okay, why not? If you have a good portfolio, you have a lot of code that is shared there, maybe you can point them to a particular project that you have on GitHub that you feel more proud of. And sometimes it works. Other times they say, no, we prefer if you do this particular app because we want to see this particular things. So more or less that's how a company will figure out. And also it's a mindset. They want to see that you have the right mindset, that you understand the drawbacks of taking certain decisions, and that you prefer to spend a bit more time or put a bit more effort to build something good, because you understand the problems that it's gonna create in the future if you don't do it properly, right? So that's more or less how the companies measure or try to figure out how good you are when you are interviewing. Okay, so something here. Well, there's some funny comment here. Okay. Okay, so I think getting back to Yanni's question. So Yanni's question he has an issue and said when he pressed the email button to make an order, he has an issue. So I would say, Deeper, please, Yanni, please share your more details. Because I will need some more information about that. Okay. Some of the things that I can mention, or yes, an advice or mindset of software developer is, in the meantime, while Yanni shares some information, as a software developer, you need to get some resistance to frustration. Okay, getting your hands dirty with the code and see that this is not working, and you are crashing against a wall continuously for something, and you spend hours on something that maybe is not even difficult, but it's just you doing some silly mistake, or and sometimes you walk away, and then you come back and say, okay, I got what it is. But frustration is quite common thing that we need to face as software developers, and we need to get used to that. That's just part of the job. Okay, if you get easily frustrated, then this is probably not the job for you. Okay, and also there's a thing that for some developers, they go, okay, look, I know this. I work in this project. I've been working in this project for 10 years. I know everything in the project. For me, this is, I mean, I come to work. It was an effort 10 years ago when I started here, but now I do my job like this, that's okay. And some people are happy with that. I'm not that kind of person, okay? And I think a good developer is someone who, at the end of the day, feels comfortable with being outside of his comfort zone, okay? Think about this. Let's say you are a junior, you are doing something that is for the junior level, okay? It's not a super complex task, because the senior developers that are in the team are taking those difficult tasks, and you are given something that is more on your level, okay? Then, after some time, you feel comfortable with what you're doing. You feel like you really know, and you feel fluent somehow. That day, that task will go to another person, and you will receive some other thing, but it's going to be more complex. Okay, and this is the natural way to evolve. So, well, this is how the job should be, in my understanding. Okay, so if you want to progress, you need to sit in front of the computer and face some problem that is not easy enough, is complex, and that will be always happening. By the time that some task is easy enough or is not difficult enough, you're going to be in a level where your boss is going to give you something more complex, and that task that is now easy for you is going to be given to another more junior person. Okay, so now coming back to what Yanni had. Okay. So Yanni, I believe the problem is the following. You have an implicit intent, okay, that is trying to perform an action in the app. Okay, so what you are doing is you have this action sent to, and when you have this kind of intent, you usually get a screen where you choose which app you want to handle that with. It's like, for example, you have an image in your gallery, you click share, and you can share it in WhatsApp, you can share in your email, or you can share in a Slack app if you have it installed, and in all the different apps that you may have installed, and you choose which one you want to use. Okay. Obviously, if you are sharing an image, that in that list of apps that can handle that, you're not going to have your phone app, for example, because your phone app cannot send an image to a contact, or your message app. When I say message, I mean text, SMS. Okay. Because when there's you can be a multimedia MMS, okay, so it will be able to handle, but you cannot share in every app. What's happening to you is that you are trying to use that. I believe you are in emulator, I'm assuming, and the emulator doesn't have the email app. Okay, so every time you want to use an implicit intent, before calling the start activity, you need to check if there's at least one app that can handle that. Because if you try to share, for example, an image, and in that device there's absolutely no apps that can handle the image, then you get a crash. Okay, that's quite uncommon, fair enough, but for other situations it can happen. And in this case, as I said, I'm assuming that you are in an emulator. Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, so let me find some resource that can help you with this. Okay, so probably this from the official documentation can work for you. Okay, so you are in a phone, but there's no email app, which is a bit weird, to be honest. But so there you have something that can help you. Essentially, you need to check. This is an if clause. So if you find that there's at least one app that can handle the intent, then you start the activity for that intent. You use it. Otherwise, you just skip that. So I may be able to show you something more. Yeah, probably something like this. Okay, so I think with that there should be more than enough. Essentially, as I said, is you need to check before. Well, actually, Torsten has also shared a piece of code. Then continue a bit. We can go back and forth. Monica says something interesting. She said some developers hate comments or documentation, and I hate reading the code. And yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to say. Okay, if you face a code that is written by someone, and it can even be written by yourself time ago, and it's a pain, there's definitely something wrong with that. Comment-wise, is as far as it's not like full of comments, then it should be okay to drop some comment here and there. If the code is good, you shouldn't need more than that. You don't need comment all continuously. Okay. Okay, so I'm coming to Kiyo now, who has a question. So let me read this. Okay, so Kiyo, without reading your code, okay, bear in mind, I'm not reading the code because I think we can solve this in a bit more high level conceptually. Okay, so what Kiyo is saying is when he clicks the decrease quantity button, what he's doing is he's modifying the amount in the adapter. Okay, so obviously by modifying the amount in the adapter or value, then he gets the UI updated. Now he says when he is using he wants to update the DB, he needs to use the ID for that particular item, but he doesn't know what the ID is. Okay, so let's go step by step with this. Okay, something you need to bear in mind is that you're using a cursor adapter, and the cursor adapter has something very nice, that is that it can listen to changes in the database as far as you set up properly. Okay, so assuming that your cursor loader is set up properly, what is going to happen is that in the moment that you change something in the database, your cursor loader is going to be notified. It's going to receive a new cursor. You can call swap cursor to the adapter, the cursor adapter, and then your UI will be automatically updated. So what you are doing is you are first updating the UI, and then secondly, trying to update the database. What I'm trying to say is that the first part, you don't need to do it. Because if you have set your cursor adapter properly, in the moment that you update the database, your UI will be updated automatically for you without any extra effort. Okay, so that said, the first part where you are updating the UI by modifying the data in the adapter, you don't need to do that. Okay, in the moment you update the database, the cursor loader will receive the new data and will refresh your UI for you automatically. Okay, now the real question and the real thing that we need to think about is, I don't know which ID is the one that I want to update, because that's critical. Okay, so you don't really know how to update it in the database. Okay, so now I'm gonna check a bit on the adapter. Okay, and let's see, where's your click listener. Okay, so assuming that in your cursor, in your cursor adapter, in your cursor you have the ID, then what you want to do is something like, well, I click on a row. Which row have I clicked? Okay, the user has clicked on the third row. So I need to, as now I know, I need to take the third item in the cursor and get that ID for that cursor. Okay, so let me see if I can give you or point you to the right direction in the pets project. This is our base example. But essentially, as I said, you need to find out which line or which position the user has clicked. Based on that, you can know in the adapter which item is, and then knowing the item, you know the ID of that item. So I'm opening the pets project now. Give me a second. you need to put the on click. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, sorry, I was maybe, yeah, mixing things. You need to it's not when you click on the row, it's when you click on the button. So it's not the on item click listener of the list view, it's the on click listener of the button. Okay, so you need to set an on click listener in the button. So you have your adapter. In your adapter, you have a reference to your button. That is the object that you have called, yeah, the hit the sell button. I can see your code. You have the set on click listener and the decrease quantity method. So in decrease quantity, you will need to find which position you are in the cursor for that particular. So maybe let's see if I can. Okay, so your listener seems okay, but you are calling decrease quantity, and in your decrease quantity method, what you are doing is updating the UI. Yeah. Okay, and you don't know the ID, so. Okay, I'm opening Android Studio. Just give me a second. So, okay. Okay, so essentially, in your bind view method, okay, here, I type in that for you in Slack. So I can copy it properly. Okay, so I don't know if, well, this is a different thing. Okay, so Kiyo, the idea is you are in bind view. So in bind view, you are populating everything, right? It means that you are getting the cursor, the position for that row, and what you're doing is populating all the fields. It can be the image. Well, in this case of the list is the name, the quantity, and I think the price. Okay, you are reading all those values. You are reading them from the cursor. Okay, so what you need is also read the ID. Maybe what happens is that in your projection of what you're getting from the DB, you are not including the ID. So if you are not including that, then you will need to include that in your projection, which means that in your projection, you're going to receive not only the quantity, the name, and the price, you will receive as well the ID of the product. If you define, you will need to define this as a final variable, so it can be referenced from inside the in a method on the on-click listener, and that's the ID that you're gonna pass in the update. Let me know if that makes sense. I think I have more or less explained properly, but if it's still unclear, yeah, you can. Yeah, the thing is, from the cursor, in the cursor, you're gonna have, let's say in your database you have a table, and maybe in the table you have 200 columns. Okay, in the cursor, when you define the projection, you say which of those columns you want, because maybe you want all of them, but maybe you only want a few because you don't need the rest. Okay, so make sure that in your projection you are retrieving the ID, and then you know then you have the information that you need to update the database for that particular item. Okay, so let me know if you once you try. Okay. So now we have Gianni saying, yeah, okay, that's done. Okay, so now we have Lorenzo. Okay, so Lorenzo says, I'm validating fields as requested in the rubric, but when I click the Save button, if one or more fields are null, it shows a toast in the main activity. I want the user to stay on the editor activity so he can add what he missed. So, well, obviously, probably I will need to check the code, but the idea is that you are finishing the activity, you are going back to the list. So I think it's the list, yeah, the main activity, but you should not be going back, right? So the thing is, you probably have a method, is my understanding, when you have some if clauses. You say, if this happens, then show the toast, right? And then after that, you have the call to come back to the main activity, which is probably finished, or I don't know, depending on your code. I have to check. So that last line of code should not run in the scenario where you are showing the toast. So the idea is that you put that in an else, or that you return, if your method is a void, you return if you go inside the if. I don't know if that makes sense. So let me try to figure to write something here. So if oh yeah, you have the snippet here. Okay, I hadn't noticed this. Sorry, it's because there are so many messages. Okay. Okay, but I will need a longer snippet, because can you post the snippet for the whole method, because this is only part of the method. So what happens if it doesn't go in the if? So please add some Lorenzo, add the whole method so I can have a look at it. Okay. So meantime. Okay, by the way, thanks Torsten for helping other students. I know you have finished your project and you are waiting for just confirmation that you passed everything. But it's appreciated that you are here joining us today and trying to give a hand to others. Okay, so Coming back to questions. Yeah, so just in case, just asking Lorenzo, I came to share the whole method. That's only we have a portion of the code. Oh, Vicenzo is asking, Vicenzo, Vicenzo, are you listening on the streaming? I replied already to that. So something you can do is go to the streaming and go back and read that part. That is where I was answering your question. Okay, so we have a question from Susa Hodi. So let me check this. Yeah, okay, so Vicenzo, just move the streaming back so you can watch what I was speaking a few minutes ago. Okay, let me know if you need any more on that. Okay, so checking Susa's question. Okay, so Susa, bear in mind the following. In this box, where you write your messages, there's a plus button next to it on the left. If you click there and you go to code or text snippet, that's much better way to share your code, because it's going to be much readable for all of us. Okay, so for now I'm going to try to read this, but bear that in mind for the future, please. Okay, so the problem Susa is having is, so she clicks on an item on the list, she gets to the edited activity, but that activity only shows the detail because you are not editing yet. And then you choose edit on the menu. And she needs a, so I'm not sure, Susan, on what the question is. So yeah, you click on edit and the edit text fields appear, and then you need a save button. And okay, so you're saying the save button does not appear. Okay, are you refreshing the menu? You need to refresh the menu. Let me see. There is a method for that. And I'm checking this. So yeah, so I'm gonna share something with you, and let me know if this is, yeah, you are right, the Torsten is invalidate. So the method is invalidate options menu, that will refresh the menu. So in your that will call SUSE. That will call again to your on prepare options method, and then the menu will change accordingly. So I presume that this is the bit that you were missing to get your menu refreshed. Okay, so something we're gonna do now is 12 o'clock. We have a bit of different timetable today because today we are doing 3 hours instead of 4. So we're gonna do a break now. The break is gonna be shorter. It's gonna be 10 minutes. So for now, I will hope that when I come back, both Lorenzo and has shared the snippet of code of his whole method and get some feedback from SUSE on whether this is working, this suggestion is working or not. So see you in about 10 minutes time, okay? And speak soon. Just gonna mute this and see you. Okay, we are back here. I'm gonna check your messages. Okay, so it seems that Susa has confirmed that that the suggestion was good, and Lorenzo has posted his method, and Thorsten has helped him already, which is good. You have taken a larger break, right, guys? Okay, so it seems that Lorenzo had some help, and he's confirming that the fix is working. He's trying to confirm. So let's see. Okay, so we have Yanni typing now. Okay, so waiting for Yanni to share something with us. Okay, so Yanni's question says his questions for the community. He has having half plus and minus button for the quantity. It's mandatory, and I believe it is. I have the rubric here. So I'm checking the rubric now. So according to the rubric, it seems that it's mandatory. So okay, so yeah, there are two things. According to the rubric says the detail layout contains buttons that increase and decrease the available quantity display. Okay. As a second thing, this is what you are typing here. It says the student may also add input for how much to increase or decrease the quantity by. Okay, so that's a different thing. Okay? So it's a mandatory functionality to have buttons to increase and decrease the quantity. Okay, and that you are pasting now is a suggestion that is not mandatory, and what it's suggesting is that maybe you want to add a text field or edit field where you want to say how much you want to increase or decrease. Okay, so the essential functionality or the basic functionality that is mandatory is to have the buttons to increase and decrease, and when you do that, you will be increasing or decreasing by 1. Okay, but the rubric also suggests that maybe you don't want to increase or decrease by 1. You maybe want to increase 2 or decrease 3, because in a way it makes sense that you are selling something or you are increasing the amount and you don't want to click the button 10 times. You may want to type a 10 and then click the plus button once, and that is adding 10 instead of clicking the button 10 times. Okay, so as I said, there's two different things. The increase and decrease buttons are mandatory, and then the other thing that you are mentioning is optional. That's a suggestion, okay, that you may want to do or not. That's completely up to you. Okay. Well, Yanni, if you have used the edit text on quantity, you you can leave it like that. That's okay. As far as you don't go to negative figures and you are handling it, the behavior is logical and reasonable. You maybe not need to change the layout necessarily. I don't know. Depends on how your layout is. Okay, so also we have some good news that Lorenzo has managed to fix his issue. So thanks again, Thorsten, for your help. So let's see what else we have on here. Okay, so Lorenzo was having another issue. Okay, so let me read this. Okay, so Lorenzo has a problem with his menu when he calls invalidate options menu. So the problem is Lorenzo, when you say it's still there, what are you referring to? What is that thing that is still there that you don't want it to be there in the menu? Okay, so can you take a screenshot so I can better understand what the problem is? Okay, so we have someone else joining. You can see at least one student who has not really participated before in the streaming or in the channel. So I'm going to share again the URL of the streaming just in case there's anyone so just in case I'm sharing the link for the streaming again, just in case there's anyone who's not aware of that. So while I wait for Lorenzo to share a screenshot, so I can understand better what the problem is. So we have and Dinos Barnpass, who is asking about the final PEP app code. And Dinos, have you cloned the repo? If you clone the repo and you go to master branch, have you tried that? Oh, streaming is not working. Okay. Is it is the problem with the streaming specific for? Okay, so it seems that Lorenzo has some problem with the streaming. I'm trying to find out if. Okay, so it seems that for the rest, at least for Torsten, is working, which means that we can assume that the streaming is working. Hopefully, Lorenzo can join shortly again. So type in a message for Lorenzo, as he seems not to be able to connect to the streaming momentaneously. So in the meantime, let's see. Okay, so I think Dinos is gonna share some error message probably. Okay, so Dinos. Okay. So, Dinos, I think with what you have shared in the image that you are missing the bit of, but you said, is this the pet app? Is this the pet app or is this your project? So I think you are not implementing the loader callbacks. It seems like you are not doing. Okay, thanks, Susa, for confirming it's working for you. Not sure you understand. So you. I think you don't have the. So are you in master branch? You are in lesson 4. So let me see if I can check that in. Okay, so you are in lesson 4 on the branch is lesson 4, and that is you are in on create of the main activity, I'm guessing. catalog activity, and see. Yeah, it seems so. So you are on create. Checking the pets app now. Catalog activity. Mhm. Interesting. So you said you are in, because I have changed to lesson 4 branch, and it's compiling perfectly for me. If you go to version control, local changes, is there anything there, or is your branch fresh, or you have modified anything anywhere? Because I cannot see a difference, to be honest. Okay, so Lorenzo is seems to have it working now. So in the meantime, while Antinos give us some more feedback on his problem, I'm gonna check the screenshot by Lorenzo. So let me recap on the issue here. So do you mean that sorry, Lorenzo, I'm a bit confused. Excuse me. You say on the top, if I scroll up, you say when it is a new insertion, the ordered item in the menu should appear. Okay, and in the screenshot, the order button in the menu is visible. So that is a bit confusing because I can see that on the screenshot, and but at the same time, it's like you are saying that it should appear, but it isn't. So sorry, can you clarify a bit? Oh, it should not appear. Okay, it should not appear. Oh, okay, okay. The menu should disappear. Okay, I didn't read it properly. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm gonna check the code. Okay, so I think what I'm missing here is your other method, which is the on prepare options menu. So can you share, Lorenzo, the on prepare options method, because there is where it should be set up, which item in the menu should be visible or not. Yeah, so you can also check something, because Susa based or share her code on the on menu. Sorry, that's the name of the method. On prepare options menu method, that can probably give you some hint. But yeah, please share the. Okay, seems that Torsten had some time to inspect the code. Okay. Okay, so thanks again, Torsten, for helping out here. Now we have Lorenzo trying a fix, and Tinos is going to share something that I asked him just a few minutes ago. Okay. So Tinos, the link for the code on GitHub. So that should be, let me see if I can find it, maybe some Git command line thing. This. So I'm getting the reference to the repo from my Git. So I'm going to share this with Antinos. So hope it helps. Okay, so okay, so now Lorenzo had his fix. As Lorenzo, I'm guessing that Torsten checked Lorenzo's repo proactively, which is quite amazing. Thank you very much again, Torsten. So what we have at the moment is seems to be that everyone has his issues fixed, or at least has been pointed in the right direction. So I can see that there are not so many active people here as yesterday. So let's see. So Antinos is typing now. Okay, so it seems that Antinos is happy to go ahead. At least he feels he's on the right direction. So James is asking if the videos will be available. Yeah, they will be available later. Actually, if you check general, someone, Vicenzo, has shared the videos from yesterday. So I'm sharing that with you. So that is it's a collection of the videos from yesterday. There's no, but I don't know which is the order. There's no really. It's only the links, and obviously you will need to check which one is which. You will find out. You should receive an email from Udacity later on with a more structure, like which link is for which session of which project. Okay. Okay, so we have some awesome news here. We have Gianni saying that he has pushed his project for submission. So hopefully, Gianni, you will pass, and that will mean that you are finishing your nano degree, completing all of it, because as this is the last project that you need to submit. Very happy to help you to achieve that this weekend. And thanks for sharing the good news. Okay, so let's see next. And Tinos, I send you the link. You said that I send you the link for the session 2, but well, you can change branches. So well, I'm gonna say this, and then I check if you are listening. So there you can choose which branch you want to see. Still, the best option would be to clone the repository. So from from your Android Studio, you can change from one branch to another with just a couple of clicks. That would be the best option. So can you please, Antinos, confirm Antinos is typing. So Okay, so Torsten is asking if these hackathons will be happening every weekend, or this is a one-time event. For now, it's a one-time event. Okay, I can say we have done with the fast track students this type of hackathons. We have done 3 of them. Okay, your deadline is for 25th of July, which is in 2 weeks' time. I don't think we're gonna have any more hackathons like this before the end of the program. And as far as I know, there's nothing planned. I mean, if there were plans to have a hackathon next week or the week after, I will definitely know. And there's no plans for that, unfortunately. So I hope that this hackathon is good enough to push you a bit on and get more submissions and get more of you achieving the completion of the nano degree, which is the main idea. Okay. So now we have a question by Daria, and she's asking if the lessons will be available after finishing the course. Okay. So Daria, bear in mind something that is very interesting in university is that all the contents are free and publicly available always. Okay. So if you want to rewatch the videos or come again to check something, that's going to be always available, and that's for free, and it's available for everyone. Okay. Udacity has a number of courses, and some of them, not all, are put together in the nano degree. Okay. Maybe if you complete the nano degree, you should have access to everything straight away. It can happen that you don't have access straight away. So the only thing that you may need to do if that happens, that I don't think it's going to happen, but just in case, I will let you know what you have to do. Is, as I said, Udacity has a number of courses. Some of them are grouped together and put in a sequence and sensible order as in the form of a nano degree. If by any chance you cannot access the nano degree course as itself, the only thing that you will need is to enroll in the course, in the number of courses that you had in the nano degree individually, and you will be able to watch the videos and access the contents and rubrics and everything. But still, I think if you complete the nano degree, you probably don't need to do that at all. Okay. In Udacity, what the paid version, what you pay for, well, you have the scholarships, but those who pay what they get are the extras. Okay, the content is always free. The videos are publicly available. You can enroll, no problem. What you get if you pay is obviously at the end of the program get a formal or official certification from Udacity. But you get also the code reviews, the one-to-one mentoring, and all these kind of things that are extras, and that's what you pay for. You don't pay for the videos. That's the thing. Okay. Okay. So nice to see that Antinos found what he was looking for. With some help. Okay. So there I was saying he had an issue, but he managed to fix that, which is good. Okay, so reading now the issue that Daria is having. Okay. Okay, so it seems that the problem is that when she clicks to edit the activity, all the previous information is safe except the image. Can you upload a screenshot maybe and trying to so my understanding is that you arrive to the detail screen, and there you have everything populated. When you click on edit, everything is kept there, but the image disappears. Is that correct? Okay. So, okay, seems like Daria has shared something. Okay, just having a look at it right now. Okay, it seems like a long snippet. Good. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I need to download the snippet because it's too big. So open separate file. Okay, so having a look at it now. Okay, so there's a lot of code. I need to check where. Okay. Okay, I'm a bit confused with this. So just to recap, so you said that you go to the that activity, everything is populated, fair enough. You click on edit, and the problem is not when you click on it. The problem is when you modified it and save. Okay, okay, please send the screenshot so I can better understand. Okay, waiting for the screenshot from Daria now. Okay. Okay, so it's kind of you, but that is when you click on edit, right, Daria? So if that is when you click on edit, why do you think that the issue was on the save product method? So you think that you can share your GitHub? It seems it's not. There are not so many questions at the moment. So if you share GitHub repo, update on with the latest version of the code, and you tell us in which branch we should. Oh, I say we because Thorsten is also quite active. So if you share the GitHub repo, you tell us in which branch we should check if it's not master, you have this latest version in another place, in the branch. I think maybe we can have a look at it and figure out better. We can reproduce in the emulator and see everything. Okay, it's not on GitHub, no problem. That's okay. So if you don't have, if it's not on GitHub, what you can do is you can create a zip file and upload it here. Okay. The only thing with the zip file is, remember, so in order to avoid that it's like a massive big file, delete your build folders. So you have two folders that are quite big. Then one is build, and the other one is app/build. Okay, so you can delete these two folders, and because those folders contain things that are generated on build time. Okay, so it's just like generated code, auto-generated code that we don't need to. We can generate ourselves out of the studio build. So you can zip that and upload it to us. You can have a look at it. So it's now 1 o'clock. I'm gonna take a 10 minutes break again. So I will come back at 1:10, and from then we will do the last bit of the session and therefore the last bit of the hackathon and to 2 o'clock. So upload your code. In the meantime, I will have a look at it when I come back, assuming that Torsten has not done yet. Okay. So see you in about 10 minutes, and we'll get you to fix that error for sure. There you go. So speaking of it. Hello again. We are back on the streaming, and we have Daria Rico now going to check her issue with image. So I'm gonna clone your repo, Daria. Okay, so let's gonna clone this on the studio. Okay. Clone it now. Okay. Okay, maybe Thorsten, if you had an out of memory error, maybe you're using a too big image, maybe. Okay. So Daria, can you confirm that we should be using master? Well, actually, you don't need to. It's the only branch that we have in your project, so it's okay. Okay. So I'm compiling now. I'm gonna run this on emulator. Well, when I mentioned about the image size, I meant about the file itself, the bitmap, not the size on the screen as in DPs. Okay, so loading an image that is too big may make your device run out of memory. Okay, so almost there to run. It's a bit slow, but it's compiling. Okay, so in the meantime, check the code. Look at it. Okay, so trying to reproduce this. Okay, I think I basically reproduce this. So the problem is that I think I understand better now. So when you create a new product or an entry, then you add an image, and then the rest of the data is sort of values. But when you go, then it appears on the list. That's okay. In the list, you have the name, the price, and the quantity, not the image, because the image is not supposed to appear on the list. When you click on the item on the list and you go to the edit activity, then the image is not appearing. Okay, so let me see if I can figure out what the problem is. But okay, Daria, I found the issue. It must be this. So if you check your onload finish, so you have your cursor, okay, on create loader. I'm on editor activity, okay. So on editor activity, you are in on create loader. In on create loader, you have your projection. Your projection includes the ID, the product image, name, price, and quantity. Okay, so you essentially have or are retrieving the right data from the database. Okay, when you go to onload finish, you are not using the image. I mean, the image is not appearing there because you are not using that data. So you are taking the name, the price, and the quantity from the cursor, and you are putting all of them in its place, but you are not retrieving. I mean, the cursor includes for sure the image, but you are actually not using it. You want to check? Can you check on load finish in editor activity? Okay, please let me know when you have the chance. Okay, so waiting for confirmation. So in the meantime, I think I can ask again. So let's see if there's more questions. So in the meantime, let's wait for Daria to come back to us. Okay. So James is typing. Yeah, that was a huge image, Thorsten. Still, your crash was different. I mean, was a different issue. So now waiting for Daria to let us know uh, how it goes with that. James is also typing. So James is asking how much of the last two lessons have a bearing on this project. That's content providers and course loaders. Essentially, that's the core of the project. I mean, obviously, in the project, you need to do a few more things because you need a UI and you need a button and a click listener and you need to do a few things here and there. But the core of the project is to be able to save data in the database, to be able to retrieve, to update, to delete, and to show all those changes in your UI as they have been processed. So James, essentially, that's the core of it. Can you, James, please confirm that you have listened to this explanation in the streaming? So we also have Issy typing now. Okay, awesome. Thanks for confirming, James. Okay, there he is also typing. Okay, yeah, good. Nice to see that you fixed the issue. That's okay, you're welcome. Happy to help. And one step closer to submitting the project. You are doing a great job during the weekend here with the project. So hopefully you can submit soon. So in the meantime, we have some of the student typing. Let's wait to see what he or she wants to share with us. Okay, so Issy, first of all, Issy is, let's see, Issy Stannet. So first of all, just to confirm, are you listening to me on the live streaming? Just to make sure that you listen to what I'm going to explain. Yes, okay. So Issy's question is how to deal with the images into the, how to save the images in the SQL database. Okay, so there are a couple of things here. Okay, there are essentially, I would say, well, 3-4 different ways to do it. But so let's go step by step. Okay, the easiest way that I would probably recommend you, and it's more than enough for the purpose of the assignment. Okay, is the following. You can have a column in your database which is of type text. Okay, when you get the image from the gallery, you know where the image is located. You know the URI. You know that that image is in, let's say, /images/ my app / whatever name .png. Okay, so you know the URI. You can save that URI as a text in a column on your database. Then when you retrieve the cursor, when you do a query, you have that URI and you can load the image that is in that URI. Okay. As I said, that is a reasonable approach for a project at the moment. Okay, and that will work, and that's okay. Still, I want you to be aware of other things. Okay, something important is that, okay, you are saving the URI of that image that is on the gallery, and maybe can happen that the image is deleted in the future. Okay, and then when you retrieve the data from the database, you have the URI, you go to pick that image from that URI, and that image is not there anymore. That can happen. Okay, that's not ideal, but I want you to be aware that there's that problem. Well, is possible that you face that. Okay, that could happen. But as I said, for now, that would be a reasonable approach for the purpose of the assignment. Okay, ways to solve it. I want to add that on top so you are aware, you can get some understanding of it. Okay. Something that you can do is, instead of saving the image as in the column of type text, you can use a blob, which is a big, large object. Okay. Essentially, what you will do is transfer or convert that image into a byte array and save the byte array into that column, which type has to be blob. Okay. Then what you will do is the other way around, is that you want to query to the database, get that byte array from that column, and transform that byte array into an image that you display. Okay, if you do like this, you avoid the problem of having that image not be available because someone has deleted it from the gallery. Okay, that seems like a better approach, but it also has some drawbacks. It is like, obviously your database is going to be bigger. The reading of the database of the table when you do the query can be slower, because obviously reading a text in that column compared with reading the blob is a bit slower. And if the images that you are saving are particularly big, then it's going to be worse. Okay, if they are not too big, then this is probably very simple. Then that's not be a problem. Okay, then you have probably an intermediate solution, that is, when you get the image from the gallery, you copy that image to your internal storage. Okay, if you do that, then you can save the URI. You don't need to save the blob as a byte array, and you can save the URI as a text, and you don't have the risk that that image has been deleted. because only your app can access your internal storage, which means that no other app, no gallery, no other app can delete that image. So it would be like copying it on a safe location that you can guarantee is always going to be there. Okay, those are the essentially I would say 3 main possibilities. There is a 4th possibility that is, well, you have that image in a remote location in a server. That would be probably ideal, right? So then when the app needs the image, it just needs to go to the server, download it, and show it. If you don't have internet connection, obviously you will not be able to show the image, but sometimes you can cache the image, and well, the first time that you use it, it gets cached, and then you can show it in the future. So those are the main different ways where you can do how you can do this saving the image. As I said, the one with saving the test is good enough for now. I'm not so interested in you making it perfect, because perfect will require like a more work. As I said, you can see all these different options and remote server and everything. I'm more interested in you to understand that, well, saving it as a test is good enough, but what I also want to give you is the understanding of what problems can be associated with that solution, which other possible approaches you can choose, and what can be the advantages and disadvantages, and the way to do from each of them. Okay. Said that, obviously you can choose to make your life as complex as you want, but I will advise, don't do that. It's not the point to make it more complex than necessary at the moment. Okay, and for this stage, as I said, you can just save in the database in a column of text, saving the URI that you get from the gallery. It's not a problem for our current scenario if that image is not there in the future. Okay, so easy. Anything? Are you okay with the explanation? You want more detail or anything that I have not maybe explained as well as I would have liked? Yeah, exactly. That's it. So when you need to open the gallery, get the image. So you're gonna start activity for result. Let me see if I can. Well, let me finish explanation now, and I will search for some resource so you can get a clue on how to do it. So when you retrieve the image from the gallery, you're gonna retrieve the URI, so you know in which folder, in which path the image is, and that path, that URI, is what you save on the database. So the day of tomorrow, when you retrieve that path from the database, you can load the image that is there. That's essentially as simple as that. Okay. So trying to find a good example. On how to load the image from the gallery. Okay. Okay, so I think it will be something similar to this. Easy. Okay. Okay, so there you can see how to retrieve the image, the path, once you get the results from the gallery. Okay. So okay, so Jane, she's not Jane, it's Kasper Jankowski. Okay, he's asking about his database design. He has simplified this. Um, yeah, I think Casper. Also, you confirm you are listening to the streaming. Uh, it seems okay. I don't see anything wrong with that. Um, you may need to add some more information or some more fields in the product table, uh, like particularly you needed to have a button that is gonna, when you click on the button, you request for more. Um, you want to buy more, to get more from the provider. Okay. Well, you can do a normal email and assume that the provider is always the same for all the products, and that's okay. So in that case, you would not need to save uh, a, a column to define which is the email address of the provider for that given product. So you can assume that for the purpose of the assignment, that the email address is the same for all the products. So with that in mind, you may not need to add anything more necessarily to the product table. So yeah, it looks good to me. Still, as I said before, I would recommend, seriously, Casper, I would recommend finish the assignment only with the product table. Okay, and the reason for that is that you have a deadline on the 25th, and you want to finish this and get the nano degree done. Adding the shipment table doesn't seem like a lot of extra work, but you may have to do some extra work and deal with some extra complications. So my advice would be forget about the shipment work table for now. Do only product. Submit your project, and then once it's submitted and you are okay with that, then feel free to add the next table and grow the app as much as you want, including the shipment table or others. But for now, I will advise to avoid that. Okay, awesome. So glad to help. So let's see. Let's gonna ask something here. So how many of you here? I can. Okay, so my question that I drop in a Slack is how many of you think that you will be able to submit the project by the end of today? Just curiosity to see, well, how this has helped you, this hackathon. There's a few people type in now. Okay, Issy, yeah, I understand that you have not started to code it yet, and probably by the end of today it's going to be a bit difficult. Okay, Daria is saying that maybe not today, but maybe end of tomorrow. She feels it's feasible. That's nice. Okay, so Casper says next few days, which is okay as well. I mean, I understand that you started the hackathon in different stages of your project. Good. Eva has mentioned that she is cleaning the code and submitting it soon. Monica has finished it today as well. That's good. Nice. So very happy to see that you have managed to do it. And for those who don't think that they can do today, that's okay. That's not a problem. But I'm happy to see that this has helped you. Okay, so Easy is asking, how long did it take you to complete this project? So maybe you guys can share something about your experience with this last project of the nano degree. Yeah, Casper is saying that Casper, I don't know how this is the pronunciation, sorry, is saying that, well, it's not the same like being online than being on a real hackathon. So for us, it's kind of the closest that we can pretend to be next to you. So it's kind of, if you are there at home coding, working on the project, and we were like virtually sitting next to you by your side, and you can turn your head and ask. And this is the closest that we can do to do something like that. So okay. Monica said that it take her 4 or 5 days to finish the project. I will advise something that you can do is, the project is very, very similar to the PETS project. Okay, so having the PETS project open in another window, and when you get a stack, go check. That will be very helpful, I think, because they're very similar in many ways. So okay. So Eva said she started on Tuesday, and I believe she said she had submitted it yet. So, well, she's working. She said she was cleaning the code. So she started on Tuesday, and she's gonna submit her project shortly. That's good. Okay. Okay, I see that Stefan has mentioned that he has also finished, but he has not submitted yet. He finished yesterday, but he needs to polish it a bit before submitting. That's also good. So while you share your some ideas on the question that Katbek had on how long did it take to you, we have 10 more minutes to finish the hackathon. Okay, so Lorenzo is saying that he could probably submit today, but maybe he wants to take a few more days to add some functionalities. Lorenzo, my advice, if your project is good, is finished, and is okay in terms of the rubric, I would say submit it and get it review and pass, and then you can add some extra functionalities if you want later on. I mean, you can, if you can submit today, there's maybe no need to wait. You can submit and keep on working on the extra functionalities for the next few days if you want. I would say maybe there's no point to wait to have the extra things that you may want to add before submitting. But obviously that's up to you, but that would be my recommendation. Okay. Also, Eva has shared a screenshot of her app, which looks pretty nice, Eva, with this nice yellow color. Something I will say there, I can see your Eva, you have the yellow color is okay, but you have the blue on the top, and that's not how it should be. Okay, so that should be yellow as well, but a bit different. And let me show you. So I'm gonna share the guidelines about color with you. So yeah, this is the right thing that I need to share. Just give me a second. Okay. So Eva, I have shared with you the guidelines regarding color. Okay, so the color that the bar at the top should have is a similar yellow, but a bit darker. Okay, so check the guidelines and check the colors that have the 200, the 500, the 700, and read about that and figure out. You will need to calculate which is the color of that. So I have a tool to calculate the color. Somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. I will find it for you. So essentially, it's a tool. It's a website where you can tell which is your color, your main color, and it's going to tell you which is the equivalent that you need to use for the bar at the top and everything. So just give me 2 minutes. Yeah, so I'm trying to, yeah, exactly. You need to figure out the 700, but the thing is how you calculate the value of the 700. So I have a website in my, so, so Eva, check this website, and in this website you paste the color that is your 500, and that is gonna give you the whole palette. So the only thing is that you will need to copy the 500, the value for the, sorry, the value for the 700. You will need to get a color picker in the browser. So that's pretty easy, and it gives you the 700. Because sometimes the problem is, as we are not designers, we are developers, and it's okay. Then someone tells you, okay, I know because of the guidelines that I have this color. This color is the 500. I need to calculate the 700. How do I do that? Okay. So this website that I send you will calculate it for you. Okay. Okay. So let me see if I'm not missing anything. We are in the last 5 minutes. So maybe as mentioned that she's almost there with Brit as well. Kasper, you mean Linux? You mean me? I use Linux Mint, but I have used quite a lot of different Linux distros in the last few years. I've been with Linux Mint for, I don't know, maybe 2 years now on a daily basis. I stay with some others for some time as well. I've been changing, maybe change in the future as well. So okay, we have a question from Issy. The project rubric states that we need both a button to increase quantity and a button to order from supplier on the detail layout. Okay, they said, am I right in saying that the user will be expected to increase the quantity once the order has been received, or just trying to distinguish between the two functions? So easy. This is just to make the functionality. We don't have a way to know when the order has been received. Okay, so these are completely two separate functions or functionalities. Probably in an ideal world, you will send the email to the provider, and when you receive the order, you have a method or something that updates it automatically in some way. But we are not doing any of that. So don't overcomplicate. It's just as simple as it seems. It's one button here for increasing, decreasing the quantity, and another button to order for the. You don't need to wait to receive the order. There's no anything going asynchronously. So don't worry about that. Okay. Daria said, is asking, I heard that we can register as a Udacity mentor after finishing the course. Is it true? To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I'm not aware that there's any particular place or any particular way to apply for to be a mentor. Okay, is in in my experience, everything has been a bit more like, well, someone likes you, someone sees what you're doing, you have been a particularly good student for some reason, and then Udacity approaches you somehow. That's how I felt it is, okay? So it's a bit about recommending someone, you get someone to recommend you, or Udacity itself notice that you are particularly good for some reason. I'm not aware that there's a particular application form or way to submit or ask them to consider you. There is something like that for code reviewers. Yeah, code reviewers have a form, an application that they can submit and everything. But I'm not aware that there's anything like that for mentoring. Obviously, if you feel like doing it, and you are aware that there are some Udacity employees in the Slack, and you know their names, and you can say, "Hey, how are you? Can we talk about this?" And maybe, well, you never know. So if you feel like that, why not ask them directly? I'm not deciding on any of this. Okay, sorry, but I need to stop 1 second. I'm coming back in 1 minute. Okay, sorry for running out this. It seemed that someone had called the buzzer probably by mistake, and I had to go to the door to check what was going on. So while it's 2 o'clock, I think we are essentially done for the session, and therefore for the hackathon. Obviously, you can continue working, but the streaming will be finished just now. I want to say it's been a pleasure to be here and work with you. I will also say thank you very much. It's been really nice. And I would like to ask you if you could maybe drop a line now on the once we finish on the Slack, just to share a bit how your experience has been, just to get some feedback. If you've been happy with what we have been doing here on the project, how you think has been useful for you, or I don't know, anything you want to share, even if it's anything that can be improved. I mean, just So that said, I will say thank you very much again, and hope to see your project submitted soon. Please, if you submit your projects, I will be also extremely happy if you could drop a line as well, whatever it is, tomorrow or this evening or in 3 days time, saying I've submitted, I passed, I completed this. It's really nice to read this kind of thing. So thank you very much again, and speak soon, guys. Okay, cheers, bye bye.